there. I wanted to announce that I was going to live, but I can't get it to work off of my phone with that scheduled. So if you're waiting in that one, I apologize. But I started another stream on my phone here, still down in my basement, still haven't got anything done back here. But I wanted to go over some stuff with you today. I'm loading up my screen here, and let's see what we got here live. So I'm loading up my screen here so I can see anything that anybody types on here. There we go. Okay, so you can see my sloppy studio back here, we're moving along. We're moving along. So some things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Here's my T-shirt today, or my hoodie. You can order this thing. This one's a couple years old, so I've got a number of these. But hey, from Pennsylvania, awesome. How we doing, Nathan? Real quick, the GTI 2025 version has been revealed. So there's a lot of things in that car that are going to have the same thing in the 2025 Tiguan. You're going to see a lot of uniformity in those two cars. That 15-inch screen, that giant 15-inch screen, that's going to be big. Backlit little sliders down at the bottom, allegedly. All this stuff is allegedly because that stuff reveals in Europe. We'll get a US spec, but they haven't announced what that will be yet. GTI, also what I'm hearing is it's going to get a horsepower bump. That's going to be exciting if we get that as well. No stick shift next year, so it's DSG only. Excuse me here, I need to get my bottle of water. I ate some popcorn before that and I dried out my mouth, so. Okay. As you guys may or may not know, I'm going to do it first. I'm actually going to go to the Chicago Auto Show just because I think it's cool. I'm a kid from Detroit. You used to go every year when I was a little kid, and anybody else's auto show, when I went to it, was boring and just not fun at all. It just didn't seem to be the same, and I didn't figure it out until I was about 15 or 16. Well, duh, you live in Detroit. That's the biggest and best one. Well, now Chicago's the biggest and best one. So I'm going to go to the Chicago Auto Show. It's about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks away, and see what we can see there. Allegedly, the ID.Buzz will be there. That'll be cool to see in person. I've never seen one in person. Posted a lot of pictures. I had a lot of people send me pictures, but I've never seen one in person. So the ID.Buzz is going to be there. Again, that's going to be a 2025 model. That's going to come with 3 trims. That'll come with a first edition and a Pro S and a Pro S all-wheel drive and a Pro S rear-wheel drive. And also the first edition will be, I think, rear-wheel drive only. That's all we know at this point on the ID.Buzz. Price tag on that car, I would estimate that car is going to start with a 5, somewhere in the 50s. If not, maybe just over 60. It's not going to be a cheap endeavor, I don't think. These are all my own opinions, my own allegations. So I don't think the ID.Buzz is going to be budget friendly at all for someone that's looking for a functional, practical, whatever, everyday family car. This is going to be a really cool car though. The ID.Buzz, if you're not sure what I'm talking about there, that is the new iteration of the bus. 23 window, microbus, combi, whatever you want to call it. Now it's all electric. It'll be a 7-seater and it'll be just a little bit smaller than the Atlas. So that comes this year. Allegedly that comes in 2 quarters. By 3rd quarter we should see those. I've already got 3 people on the wait list for those. Let's see. The other thing that's rumored to be happening is there may be a 2025 Tiguan at the Chicago Auto Show. I'm excited to see that because for 2025 we will get a hybrid. Hello, Gwen. Good to see you. Where are you at, Gwen? The hybrid version of the Tiguan is going to be something special to see too. This car is going to have a whole lot of updates. The interior, the exterior, everything about this car is kind of a scripted redo. And there's also some rumblings that this car will not be built in North America. It will be built in Germany. I kind of turned my tone down a little bit there because I don't know that for sure. But that's just, that's a thing you think about when they change a car like this and it's already being built in Germany. It's already been released over there. Just we're going to get a longer wheelbase version of that car. 15-inch touchscreen. That's big. That's bigger than the one that's in the Atlas. The Atlas has a 12-inch touchscreen. They're going to have a 15-inch touchscreen on the Tiguan. That key fob that's in the Atlas, that's in the Golf R, that's in the GTI, and in the ID.4, that moves to the Tiguan as well, allegedly. So we'll see that as well. We don't know what that powertrain looks like. I've heard rumors of a 1.5. I've also heard rumors that we keep a 2.0. Don't know if it's the same 2.0. But there's also stuff out there that says that the U.S. gets a higher horsepower Tiguan next year. So we'll see. So my assumption would be that that is a different 2.0 engine. Will the screen be the same in the same position? So it'll be dead center. If you Google the images for that 2025 GTI, you'll see it kind of dead center. The GTI for 22 and 23 and 24, it kind of sloped out of the infotainment dash behind the steering wheel. The infotainment display behind the steering wheel kind of had an angle to it. It was all one molded piece. This is going to be a definite separate screen here, and it's like a giant rectangle right here. I don't know what that's going to do for visibility or things of that excuse me, of that nature. Of course, it's not going to block your view of things or that nature, but user interface with a screen here while you're driving here, we'll see what that looks like. We don't know what the steering wheel controls are going to look like. There's also going to be that little knob down to the right. I hope, fingers crossed, that they have this car at the auto show and that it's open for me to get video of this thing, because it will answer a lot of questions. That knob will be a multi-function knob. It'll also have an LED screen where you can do, I believe it's going to control climate control as well as drive modes and some other things. So I'll get a good look at that. The R-Line stays, but I think the SE-R-Line is going to go bye-bye after 2024. The SE-R-Line Black, that is. So if you're looking at an SE-R-Line Black, I would get one now and not wait till 2025, because I don't think it's going to be an option in 2025. That GTI, that 2025 GTI, now I've heard a lot and I've repeated it a lot that 2026 is going to be the last year for a gas engine. But thinking about the fact that Volkswagen just refreshed that car for 2025, it doesn't necessarily make sense for them to run that for only 2 years and be done with it. But we'll see what happens there. Let's see. The screen be in the same position. Yeah, I already answered that. So, yeah, I definitely want to get a video of that car. And I'm looking up at the screen up here. I got a giant TV screen up there as a monitor on my computer over there. So if you're wondering what I'm looking up at there. GTI, though, horsepower bump. It showed some really cool wheels on this car, which I hope make it to the production in the U.S. The seats remain. There's not a whole lot of changes there. They're doing slimmer headlights. The big thing that both of those cars, the Tiguan and, well, actually all three, the ID.Buzz, the Tiguan, and the GTI will have for 2025 is the illuminated logo and the light bar across the front. That's going in. That's going to be their signature going forward. So they're investing in light signatures on the car. Also, the tail lights are going to have more of a three-dimensional design in them. Now, this is what I'm describing is the European spec that they already revealed. Being that our car, the U.S. spec car, is still going to be built in Germany, I got a feeling a lot of that stuff is going to stay with the car. I've also heard a rumor that the Matrix LEDs that are over in Europe that haven't made it to the U.S. will be making it in the new cars coming up. That they'll have the Matrix LEDs, Tiguan included in that. I would presume the GTI will have those as well. I think power folding mirrors are going to stay. But the thing is, if you're looking for a stick shift GTI or Golf R, man, get on it now. Find them. before you're in that group of people towards the end of this model run where they go, oh, I just found out that there's no stick shifts. I need one. You know, at all costs, you got to have a stick shift, and there aren't going to be any around. I have two 380 SEs on my lot right now. Both of them are black. GTI 380 SEs. I'm amazed that I haven't sold that car yet. I have two of them on my lot. I have a GTI S that's a DSG, a GTI SE that's in Moonstone Gray, and that GTI S is in Opal White Pearl. The base car, if you need to get into a GTI, man, that is a great car to get into. It has a lot of stuff on it: power folding mirrors, LED headlights, push button start, AM FM radio, wireless charging. I mean, you get a lot for your money on that GTI. Yes, the GTI costs a lot more than it did 4 or 5 years ago, but there's a lot more content with that car, and you get knobs, 2 knobs, so you'll have that. 2025 Tiguan, no knobs. Still touchscreen only, gesture control I'm sure is going to be a part of that, and they're using a different software, it looks like, or a heavily updated software, and the reviews I saw on it, there's no lag in that software, so they're definitely working on that. I promise you, if you've seen that before, they're working to get that better, because it's just it's a must. They have to have it. Let's see, the Tiguan. Like I said, at the auto show, I'm gonna make videos of that thing. I'm gonna make multiple videos of that if that car's there. Same with the ID.Buzz. I'm curious what anybody thinks about other cars that maybe I should look at. Lucid is supposedly going to be there. They have that's the electric startup company. They're going to be there for the first time. Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, and Stellantis. Well, the Stellantis is the parent company, but Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram are not going to be there. So there's not going to be their test track and things like that there. But there's going to be a lot of other things there. I'm sure the ID.4 is going to be there. They probably won't bring an Arteon. They probably will bring a GTI and a GLI. I've looked at past Chicago auto shows on YouTube, and it looks like they bring those pretty much every year. But I'm excited for the Buzz and the Tiguan. ID.7 will also be a 2025. That will come out allegedly third quarter, and they're talking about that car having about a 435-mile range. Speaking of EVs, the ID.4, we're now hearing that the ID.4 2024 will qualify for the full $7,500 federal tax credit, as long as it has the SK on battery components, and all of those do at this point. The LG battery doesn't fall under that category. 2023s, if you buy them in 2024, they still qualify as well, as long as you have the SK on battery. So the window sticker will reflect that, because I know someone's asking, hey, how do I find out what battery it has? The window sticker will tell you which battery it has. 2024 ID.4s, I presume they're building them now, because we're down to 4 ID.4s. We have a standard, 2 Pro S's, and a Pro S Plus. And the Pro S Plus, if you have not seen the video for that car is a gorgeous car. Arctic blue on the outside with cosmic leatherette on the interior. And it is probably the most beautiful interior I've ever seen on a car. And I'm not making that up. So there's a video I have up there, down there somewhere, of the ID.4 Pro S Plus. There's 2 videos that I have of Pro S Pluses. It's the one that looks like a grayish blue. Watch that video, look at that interior. That thing is really, really gorgeous. Power folding mirrors, front facing camera, and it has VW sound, 21-inch wheels. It's a very good looking car. I've heard other news now about Jetta. Jetta sounds like Jetta may be on the chopping block for the 2027 model year. Meaning it will have a 2025 and a 2026. Now, lots of people ask me, what's the 2025 Jetta going to look like? Do we have any news on that? 2025 GLI? We don't know. Here's the thing I will say. When a car manufacturer starts talking about axing a brand, there's no more R&D. There's no more really investing in changing things, i.e. the Passat. The Passat got a change in 2016 from the 2015 was the last year for the old body style that was incorporated into the TDIs. Then it came 2016 where they refreshed it and crumpled the hood a little bit and did the LED headlights and some other things there as an option, and they added the R-Line. Then in 2020 it got another redo, knowing they got rid of it in 2022. So if you do the math there, that was 2 model years, and they knew it was done in 2022. So they did the final edition or limited edition of the Passat. My bet is if they do the same thing with the Jetta, there's going to be a limited edition Jetta come out in 2020. That will be 2026. In 2026 will probably be the last year for that car. I can't really fathom them not coming out with something else at that point, and it's probably going to be an EV or a hybrid. More likely, it's probably going to be an EV to replace that. Volkswagen has a lot of stuff that they test and they put out there. And they have a lot of other global brand or global models that they could introduce or maybe retrofit that fit in the U.S. All right, Nathan, thanks a lot. Have a good evening. I did want to say, you know what? I personally think it's a mistake that Jetta goes away. I think that's a mistake. You still got Corolla, you still have Civic, you still have Altima. You have those cars there, and I think Volkswagen needs to have one there. Now they'll say that dwindling numbers. Well, of course the numbers are going to dwindle because everybody's getting pushed into SUVs. That's where we have the Taos, we have the ID.4, we have the Tiguan, we have the Atlas Cross Sport, and then the Atlas. So we got all of those SUVs there, and I'm sure there's going to be another one coming soon. So that's kind of where we're at. A lot of rumors there. The ID.7 cost-wise, I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's going to be a little pricier car there. That's also going to be a larger car. But that mileage range of 435 miles sounds like it's going to be great. It's going to be a great option for some people, and it's a good-looking car. No new news on the Cross Sport yet. We're deep into the 2024s, 2025. Here's what I do know. 2025. The Cross Sport will have an SEL-R-Line Black Edition for the Cross Sport in 2025. I do know that. I got a confirmation from a source that knows for a fact that they're going to be doing that. There won't be any changes to the Atlas side itself, the full-size Atlas I'm referring to, I don't think. But the Cross Sport side, there'll be an SEL-R-Line Black. It'll be back. Excuse me. For 2026. The other thing about Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, yes, Dragon, more horsepower for the Tiguan. We're definitely hearing that. We don't know what engine that's going to be, but we do also know there's a hybrid engine coming, and the hybrid will go 62 miles on the electric side of the vehicle. So if you use the electric, you're going to be going 62 miles on that charge, and it's a plug-in hybrid. So this will be the first time, at least in my tenure with Volkswagen, that we had a hybrid that was a plug-in. When I started, we had a Touareg. 2013 had a Touareg hybrid, and there was also a Jetta hybrid, but they weren't plug-in. They just switched between gas and electric, and the gas motor helped charge the battery. And then there was the e-Golf. So yeah. Hey David, hope you're feeling good. Let's see. So what else was I talking about there? The Tiguan hybrid. Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. 2026, maybe 2027 will actually be. It'll probably be a 2027 model year. Is when that car is going to be due for a full-on redo. I'm hearing that they run that refresh that it just got in 2024. They're going to run that for 2 years, and then that's the car is going to get a complete redesign, I guess, again, kind of like what the Tiguan's getting now. And I would expect that there's not a whole lot they can change. They changed so much this year for 2024. They added the light bar, the illuminated logo. They changed the interiors. They made heated steering wheel and ventilated seats standard, and they put that 12-inch screen in the middle of that car. So I don't foresee a lot of that. I don't see any of that rolling backwards. I don't see any of that changing. I just see them adding more content to that. These cars are probably going to end up doing more stuff. Maybe they make power folding mirrors. There's not a whole lot more they can add if you look at the other cars in the lineup. They made power folding mirrors standard on the GTI. Maybe they do that on Atlas. Don't know. But Atlas, where it's at, man, it's a good value car right there. Especially the SE and the SE Tech. You get a lot of bang for the buck. GLI, don't know anything about any changes there. That falls under the Jetta umbrella. We haven't even seen a GLI Autobahn yet, but they're out there. All we've gotten were 40th anniversary editions at our dealership, but I'm hoping that we get a GLI Autobahn soon. The GTI, we got one Autobahn initially, the beginning of 2024 model year, but everything else has been 380s, SEs, and S's. We do have another Golf R allocated to us. Again, that one's sold. I have a wait list with 2 people on it right now. I'm down to 2 people. This person that's getting this next Golf R has been waiting almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in May. Hello, Perry. Hello, Jessica. If you're watching, I delivered one. It's a husband and wife, and I delivered one. They came from California to get it, and they're going to make another trip back from California for the second one. That's pretty cool. That car is slated to be here about April to going into March. It's been on the water for about 3 weeks, so I actually expect that to get in a little sooner. Golf R's are still hard to come by. They're going to get that refresh tube that I talked about in the GTI. They're probably going to get that little that 15-inch screen just like the GTI will. I don't see why they wouldn't. We haven't seen any kind of change points there. We don't get any kind of notifications on that yet. But that's why I'm really curious to see this Tiguan at the Chicago Auto Show if it shows up there, because I'll be able to touch it. Hopefully it'll be unlocked so we can actually touch and mess with stuff in that car. Let's see. Taos is due. I think Taos will be 22, 23, 24. Taos will probably be due for a refresh in maybe 26. I'm not sure that 25 is going to do it. Like I said, we don't get any news on those either way. And then that goes for Jetta as well, and Jetta's probably on its way out. So Taos is going to be the only car with that 1.5, unless the Tiguan Hybrid uses a 1.5, and then that'll be another car that has a 1.5 in it. ID.4, all of those changes that are coming, we haven't seen what all of those changes are going to look like on the cars yet. The 2024s have yet to arrive in the dealership. Peak Edition Atlas. I will tell you this, guys. Let's see. Peak Edition Atlas, that avocado green, we sell 3 of those for every one of any other color. The white Peak Edition, it's kind of meh. The black Peak Edition is sharp. The pure gray Peak Edition, absolutely sharp. So I've got a number of those. Yeah, David, I did mention earlier that they qualify for the 7,500 now. So, let's see. Trying to think what other news I would want to share with you guys. A lot of rumor stuff that goes around. I kind of touched base on that. I'm just excited about the auto show because I haven't really done that in a while, and I hope to get you guys a lot of content. I'm actually going to take my daughters with me, so they're actually going to help me get some content. Peyton, if you guys remember her, she was this tall before. Oh my gosh, she's almost as tall as I am now. You guys won't even recognize her. So we're going to get a lot of good content up at the auto show there. We're going to take in a couple shows while we're up there. We'll be up there for probably 3 or 4 days, trying to get some good content and see what happens. Let's see. When do you think you will get the new ID.Buzz? I am not sure. Supposedly, third quarter of this year is when we'll see those in dealerships. And the Chicago Auto Show, they actually are using an ID.Buzz in their artwork, which makes me think that they have confirmed that an ID.Buzz will be at the Chicago Auto Show. And then they have that EV test track, the test drive. I don't think the ID.Buzz is going to be a part of that. It's probably going to be sitting there, and they're probably going to have it locked up where you can't get into it. But I'm hoping to be able to get some good content on that one too, because that one's coming out of the 3 new cars. I think that one's going to come out first. It'll be ID.Buzz, ID.7, and then new Tiguan in that order. Is usually how it goes. But if Volkswagen decides they want to get that 2025 Tiguan out faster, and there's a few hints that they might be doing that, and the fact that they're building so many 2024 Tiguan's kind of to prime the pump before they just shut down and retool and go for the 2025. Now the caveat here is, if they build that car in Mexico, they have to retool. If they're building it over in Germany, then they're already building them. They don't have to change a thing. They just have to put window stickers on them for the U.S. They have to do the EPA testing and put the window stickers on and put them on a boat to come over. So that'll be interesting to see too. And with that being said, if the Tiguan ends up being manufactured in Germany again for the U.S. market, then that leaves just Jetta, GLI Jetta, and Taos coming out of Puebla, Mexico. So there's going to be something. They're making room for something there, built in North America, and I'm going to bet it's probably going to be something EV related. Now I haven't heard anything about them tooling up Puebla to do electric or EV manufacturing, but they may have done it. They may not have. Chattanooga is also going to be a plant that has availability for that. They got room to expand at Chattanooga, and then Scout's going to come online in 2026. That's another VW brand. So they will have models out in 2026, and they are building those in South Carolina. They will be building those in South Carolina. So there may be something else that comes out for that. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking. Yep. The big news there, Tiguan hybrid. I think it's going to be at the auto show. 2025 GTI probably won't be at the auto show, but 2025 ID.Buzz will probably be at the auto show. So I'll be able to get you content on those. I'm going to see what I can find out on the GTI stuff, on the GTI front. Thank you, Vegan Jen. You're in Toronto. What's the weather like up there? So, I used to live in Michigan, so I was across the river from you, and well, not from you, but in Windsor. ID.7, David. I'm not sure when it's going into production. My bet is they probably have done a soft run already, but not sure. They're supposedly going to make it here in third quarter, but we're not sure. +3 Celsius. I'm assuming that's good. I'm a dumb American that doesn't do Celsius, so I don't know what that is in degrees. But I'm gonna guess that's probably 40s, 30s to 40s. I don't know why we're the only country in the world that doesn't do metric. I really don't. I don't get it. ID.7 third quarter, ID.Buzz allegedly third quarter. Tiguan is all going to come around that. Yeah, so it's going to be kind of bam, bam, bam for those 3. So Volkswagen's really interested in upping their market share in the U.S., and I think they're going to do it with the ID.Buzz. I think it's going to do a lot. The ID.Buzz is going to do a lot for EVs. It is, because right now the EV market's kind of at a, I guess you call it a plateau. It had a moment, and I think it's going to have another moment. It's just we got to figure things out. Cold weather, they're not too fond of, but we'll figure something out. So up in Canada, Vegan Jen, I'm not thinking that you're looking at an EV up there. Heated seats, engine warmers, things of that nature, remote start, those are big things. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? Well, thank you, Vegan Jen. I work hard on those. I appreciate it. Um, I hear that a lot. And, you know, the thing when you go to a dealer, a lot of dealers now, when you go to them, they don't know what they're talking about. You know more about the cars than they do. That's kind of embarrassing. Okay, David, you're going to trade your ID4 for an ID7. That's a good plan. Excuse me. I need to drink some water here. Some other things I guess I can talk about here. The used car market is really, really, really messed up. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, I mean, I'm kind of a new car guy. You see me doing new car videos and stuff like that. But the used car market is really, really jacked up. At least it is in the U.S. and in my market. And the reason I say that is because we take cars in on trade now. A year ago, we were coming out of COVID. It's pushing past a year ago now. But at the height of COVID, we were offering stupid numbers for cars. And dealerships were terrified, my dealership included, was terrified to offer too much money for a car. Carvana came along and created that scenario where they were over allowing for every single car they took in. Imagine buying a car brand new, taking advantage of the incentives, getting $3,000 off of it, and trading it in 18 months and getting more than what it was worth new for it in cash, trading it in with miles and a ticking warranty. That's what was happening. I mean, it didn't take long because word of mouth was, man, can you believe I sold my Jeep for more than I paid for it? I mean, if that happened to you, you're going to tell a friend, they're going to tell a friend, and they're going to tell a friend. That's how Carvana blew up. And then Vroom came along, and Shift came along, and Echo Park. All these places that are like, you know what? We're going to do this online thing too. Vroom just ceased operations this week. Shift had already filed for protection, bankruptcy protection, and Echo Park shut down a lot of their locations. I think there were 8 locations they shut down. There was one here in St. Louis. I don't know if it's still open or not. But what I'm getting at here is we're getting ready to get into that point where people who bought cars during COVID are getting an itchy trigger finger trying to get out of that car. There's a number of things, though, that if you're not expecting, if you're not prepared for it, you're going to run into. One, did you pay too much for that car? What I mean by that is if you paid MSRP for that car, you're probably going to be upside down all the way to the finish line on that loan that you have on that car. If you paid a markup on that car and you didn't offset that markup with the down payment for at least the amount of the markup, you're going to be upside down on that car. And what I mean by that, let's say you bought a Chevy Tahoe and they had a $10,000 markup on that car. If you financed all that in, and banks are in this too, because they financed 150, 160% of the loan value or the vehicle value. So they're over financing for stuff. So now when it comes time to make those payments and things get a little dicey and you can't make that payment, you say, okay, car goes back. Well, the payoff is probably worth more or way more than what the car is worth by thousands of dollars. And I don't mean 5,000 or 6,000. I mean 8, 9, 10, 12, maybe even 20 grand. Case in point, I have a young lady who bought a Tiguan from me. She bought a 2022 Tiguan, and she drives a lot. She does all her work on her own. She works out of her car, essentially. That car, she still owes over $36,000 on that Tiguan. It was a $35,000 Tiguan. She owes $36,000 on it. She rolled some equity into that car, the previous car she had. Plus, she had a high interest rate. The car has 100,000 miles on it. I don't care who you look at. We're not going to give you enough to get close to that payoff on that car with 100,000 miles on it. And if you're one of those people who drives a lot and you have a loan on a car, man, you need to pay down aggressively on that car. And going forward, I would say never finance a car if you're going to put 18 to 20,000 miles on that car a year. Don't finance that car with zero down and no down payment. Or if you don't bring something to the table, you're setting yourself up for a headache down the road. you're definitely setting yourself up for a headache. Echo Park is owned by Sonic. Off lease and next is Carvana. Yeah, we have an off lease knockoff up here run by Napleton, and they got sued because their logo and their name is so similar to that off lease that's out of Florida. So they got sued over that. Let's see here. Talking about the used car market, MMR is dropping, yeah, 4 to 6% a week. Yeah, this is crazy. So another thing that happens, what we're seeing in our dealership, because we are a VW brand, is if a car has a recall and there's not a fix for the recall, it affects the value of that car when you go to trade it in. We're finding that out with cars that have recalls. Occasionally, I think it last was a Toyota. We had a Lexus and a Toyota dealer called us to service that car. But we offered them a diminished value for it because there wasn't a fix for that car at the time. Because the reason that is because if we take in your trade and it has a recall on it with no fix, by law, we cannot sell that car to another individual with an open recall on it, so it has to sit and wait for the recall. So it just sits on our lot, and the value drops and drops and drops and drops and drops and drops until, oh, thank God there's a recall fix. So we can fix that car and then sell it out for a loss. That's what happens. Let's see. Also, if you paid a markup on that car, on any car, the Carfax isn't going to reflect that when you go to trade it in. Let's use, let's use a GTI as a standard here. GTIs, at one point, there were dealers, we never marked that car up, but they were marked up 10 to 15 grand out in California. Sometimes 20 grand, sometimes 30 grand. There were even Toyota RAV4s that were marked up to where they were $100,000 for a RAV4 Prime. That's ridiculous. I can't say that you're a fool for buying that. You're probably getting taken advantage of, or you definitely got taken advantage of, and now you're really going to have a problem trading that car in. There's no way ever that car will ever get to that value, or you'll knock that value down, I should say. You won't be able to chip at that value and get that thing to a reasonable point where you're in an equitable position. So people who are trading in cars now need to have money saved up. I would say almost every scenario, you need to put money down to offset what you're bringing to the table. Another case in point. Let's talk about a 2022 Atlas. In 2022, the reason I'm picking on that car is because in 2022, due to the chip shortage, the ongoing chip shortage, that car had a series of deletes. The Atlas SE Tech, no blind spot, no power lift gate, no heated mirrors, or no rear cross traffic alert, sorry. Those three things were deleted off of that car. When you go to take that to a dealership, if you take it to a Volkswagen dealer, they know that car had deletes. And the manager, if he's on his game, is going to look, he's going to get a copy of the window sticker, he's going to look for that stuff to be on or off that car. And he's going to offer you less for that car because it's got deleted items, even though they were supposed to be standard on the car. So that car is going to book less than a regular Atlas SE Tech that has all of those things on it. It makes sense. Why wouldn't it? The Cross Sport was the same way. No blind spot, no heated mirrors, no power liftgate, no rear traffic alert. Tiguan's, especially the Tiguan SEL-R-Line. They built those without sunroofs. They did a sunroof delete on the first runs of those. So if you have a Tiguan SEL-R-Line with no sunroof, but Carfax thinks every Tiguan SEL-R-Line has a sunroof, it's not going to allow for that. It's going to show you an inflated value for your car, but the dealer, if they're smart and they figure it out, they're going to say, no, this one doesn't have a sunroof, you get less for that. And I don't mean that to sound bad or condescending or disrespectful or like we're trying to rip you off. It's just, man, the math is the math. If the car doesn't come with that sunroof, it's a deleted option on that car, you're going to pull less for that car. So that's another thing to think about, especially when Ford had all of those cars that were parked. Ford and GM parked cars that didn't have heated seat modules or the chips for certain things, and then they added them later. If someone bought a car without that stuff installed, they're going to get a diminished value, even more diminished than the person that had all that stuff. So 2021 and 2022 are going to be really, really terrible years for managers trying to evaluate and put a number on cars that are coming in for trade. Just because who knows what's missing? Who knows what it got? Who knows what it was supposed to have? And the window sticker, if they can't get a window sticker, then they're just kind of flying blind. So they're going to over allow for that car. So you could hypothetically get a win-win out of that. Let's see. Floor plan pre-COVID was 1.5%. Now it's 7. Yeah, it's like, yeah, almost 10 times what it was. That's crazy. Let's see. My family has been driving VW since 1983. Just traded in my 2003 Jetta Wolfsburg edition. Still crying over the breakup. Oh, it'll be all right, Vegan Jen. Let's see. What other questions do you have? I hope I'm not rambling. I hope this is helping you. Let's see. Trade-in values. Another thing that I'll go over with you. When you go to trade in a car, it's natural to fight for every penny on the trade value. But here's what I will tell you. Whatever your value is today, in 2 days, that value is going to drop. And 2 more days it's going to drop. And 2 more days it's going to drop. It's, let's see. Devontae, are you talking about new cars or used cars? I was just about to ask about trade-in values. Oh, okay. So they're tanking, and they're tanking fast. Trade values. But here's the catch. Just because trade values are down, what that means is the wholesale dollar amount that they're paying you for your car, or the auction amount that you would get for a car if you sent it to auction. That number is tanking. However, dealers are terrified of bleeding to death and losing money and going out of business. So they hold on to cars. Hi, Fritz. They're holding on to cars. They're holding on to the values of the cars. They want to recover the money that they put into the car. So if they bid $22,000 on this 2022 Jetta, and the market says it's only $18,000, they're already in a hole $4,000. They're trying to recoup that money or save that money, so they're going to be extra proud of that car. Maybe they don't discount that car for another 2 months or 90 days. Maybe their thing is 90 days. Or if they're a volume used car dealer, they want to turn that inventory fast, and when the car gets to 90 days, they're panicking, and they'll slash prices. But they're bleeding all over the place. That's happening a lot because we over-allow for cars, because we have to compete with Carvana, compete with Vroom, compete with Echo Park, compete with CarMax, and all these other places for your cars. All of those companies, with the exception of CarMax, have basically blown up the formula that dealers have had for decades. Decades. Because dealers are in business to make money, turn a profit, keep the lights on, keep employees, keep their shops open, keep their tech workers happy, or their techs happy, and keep the union happy if they're a union. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. And Carvana just came in and said, I don't give a crap. We're going to offer you this for your car. If they want it, they got to outbid us for it. And they ended up with all the cars, but they haven't been able to turn a profit. They can't turn a profit with their model. The investors are what keep them afloat. Let's see here. Got you thinking about buying in September of this year. Oh, so back to your question, Devontae. If you're talking about new car prices, yes, they're coming down because incentives are back. Dealers want to keep the momentum going. We are selling cars, but every car is harder to sell now, because now when a customer walks in your door, they've got Volvo, they've got Honda, they've got Chevy, they've got Cadillac, they've got Mazda, Toyota, they've got Mitsubishi, they've got Nissan. Everybody's got inventory again. So now it's different. It's different, but the manufacturers don't want to go back to cars being on the lot, hundreds of cars on the lot. They don't want the days of 500 cars on the lot. Case in point, we have 164 cars on our lot. That is a ton for us. That's not the most we've ever had. We've had well over 200 before COVID. Now we're at 164 cars on the lot. And we'll go through waves. People come in and look at cars and they skip down the street to the next place. They're back to shopping for a car, whoever gives them the best price. And here's the thing that I will tell you. I will say, from a salesman standpoint, the customer makes the car buying experience harder than it needs to be. And what I mean by that is, I'll explain this. Customers are so worried about it getting screwed over and not trusting the salesman, and it comes out. People come in, they do not trust me. They do not. They do not. Not everybody watches my videos and know what I'm about, but they don't trust me. They put me in a category with the last swindling salesman that sold them down there. Oh, that's funny. You're saying the same thing that guy said. Well, he was trying to rip you off. I'm telling you the truth. Who are you going to believe? So, what I mean by making it hard, if you know what car you want, just go to that dealership. Make a deal with them. If it feels good to you, you feel good about it, make the deal. But you don't have to go to this dealership, go to that dealership over there, that dealership over there, and that dealership over there. Here's how it works when you come to a dealership and they don't have the car you want. So everybody shops online. Everybody looks for a car. They have that red GLI that I want at that dealership there. I'm going to go there because they have it. If you don't like that dealership, you had a bad experience the last time, you didn't like the salesman or something, go to a different dealership and tell them you want a red one. They will do what's called a dealer trade for that car to get that car and get it to you. That way you're dealing with the dealership you like and you get the car you want. You don't have to go to that dealership just because, oh, they got the avocado green peak edition and nobody else does. Oh, well, I guess I got to go there to deal with them. No, go somewhere else. Go to another dealer and get it. The other thing that I would say, drive the cars, drive them with an objective mind. And also, when you're driving a car, make sure you're comparing it to like things in the same category. I can't tell you how many people come in at our dealership, want to drive an Atlas Cross Sport, but they're comparing it to a Kia Telluride. Not the same car at all. Not the same car. Interiors wise, yeah, probably pretty similar, but that's it. The cars are going to drive different. The size is different. The handling is different. Let's see. See you later, David. Turning radius, things of that nature. Warranties are different. Just overall things are different. So when I ask the question, I make sure I'm a good enough salesman where I will ask the question, what else are you comparing this to? And if they tell me a car that's off, I'm going to make sure they drive something that matches that car too. So if you tell me you're test driving a Kia Seltos, I want to make sure you drive a Taos, because those cars are equal. If you're driving a Tucson, I'm going to make sure you drive a Taos. If you drive a Rogue, if you test drive a Rogue, I'm going to make sure you drive a Tiguan. If you're test driving a CR-V, I'm going to make sure you're driving a Tiguan. You got to make sure those cars match. Otherwise, they're going to give an unfair decision to something else. The other thing is, customers ask a lot of questions. I get it. You ask a lot of questions. What's the rate? What's this? What's the incentives? What's all that? Just tell them what you need to do. Go to a dealership you trust and then tell them what you need to do. Okay, if you don't trust the dealer, don't tell them what you want your monthly payment to be. Don't tell them what your interest rate you're looking for. Or don't even talk about interest rate. If you don't trust them, get up and leave. Go somewhere else. There's enough dealers around that will work for your money. If your salesman's an idiot, go somewhere else. Go somewhere where they got product knowledge. It's a red flag if you know more about the car than they do, unless you're one of those tech nerds that does all that research and no one compares to your knowledge on it. I get that too. But if they don't know what they're talking about, or the salesman goes, here's the keys, car's over there, and they just go back to playing solitaire or whatever, or watching TV on their computer or whatever, yeah, they're probably not the salesman for you. My product knowledge is top notch. I was number 1 in the state last year. I'm number 3 in the state this year so far. Product knowledge is strong, it's key, and people skills. I have people skills. I've been in a retail business almost all of my life, so I know how to talk to people. But man, going to 6 different dealerships, that's exhausting. That's a waste of your time. That's a waste of your day. And the people that you're dragging along with you are miserable. Just go look at the cars you want. If you don't want that car, don't look at it. Don't look at a car because it's $29.99 or 20. You know, if it's $29.99, but you don't like the car, you think the headlights are ugly, the seats are uncomfortable, it looks cheap on the inside or whatever. Skip that car. Don't even bother with it. But most customers walk in and go, well, I'm looking at this car, this car, this car, and this car. And they got a clipboard and they got a notepad and stuff like that. It's not that hard. You're going to drive this car for the next 3 to 5 years. Okay? If you change cars every 3 years, just get the car that looks good to you, feels good to you, you like how it drives, you like the salesman. If you like the salesman, get it. If you don't, go to a different dealer. You've already figured out what car you want, just go get it in another dealer. Don't spend time with them. Just move on. We just make this process way longer than it needs to be. And I'm going to wrap this up here. But one thing I wanted to say, there's a reason that dealerships, just a little tidbit here, dealerships are really, really, how do I put this? They're vague when they give you details, especially when they know you're going to leave. So when you come to a dealership and you sit there and you've made it clear you're not buying a car today, that dealership's not really motivated to give you a lease price. What's the monthly payment on this on a lease? 36 months, 10K down, or 10,000 miles, and we'll say $500 down. Give me that number. No. Why would they give you that number? Because what happens is, in a dealership's mind, all you're doing is taking that information, going to the next dealer, slapping it on their desk and say, beat that. Then you take their number, leave again, slap it on the next dealer's desk and say, beat that. No one wins in that case. They don't want to give you those numbers. That's why dealerships are vague. When you come in and you say, I'm not buying a car today, well, we could achieve everything you want to do. I sound presidential. I didn't commit to anything. I just said, we can do whatever you want to do. That sounds good. When can you come in? When can you come back to purchase the car? And then we wait for you to come back. That's why dealerships are like that. They don't like to give you numbers because you take those numbers and it's intel that you're going to use against them at the next dealer. That's why. It's not that they're crooked or anything like that. In the business, in the car business, 92% of the people who come into a dealership leave and never come back. 92%. That means 8% will buy a car. Or they'll come back and buy a car. That's why dealerships are vague. That's why they don't like to give you information that you leave with. And here's the other thing. If you leave the dealership, sales managers will tell their salespeople that the salesman will walk into the office because he's got to touch desk with the salesman or with the sales manager before you leave, and tell him what he's got and what's going on. Hey, Joe, my customer wants to leave. They love the Taos, they love the Tiguan, but they don't really know which one. They want to look at Honda, they want to look at Chevy, they want to look at these other cars. Okay, so tell them we're doing this, and this. We'll offer them $5,900 for 72 months. We'll give them $3,000 in rebates on the car if they buy today. Well, you go tell them that and they still leave. You've told them that, you've promised them that, and then they come back and it's like, well, now they've got to peel you off the wall. They purposely give you information when you leave that you're going to use as a grenade at the next dealer. So when you say, hey, I want to leave, I would need to think about it. They say, okay, great. Keep in mind, we can probably get to your payment of $525 a month on that car. Think about that. They do that as a poison pill for when you go to the next dealer and competitive shop them, and they say, well, we can't do anything other than we can get you to 680s. Well, that dealer told me they could give me the 525. So they remembered that number, and now you've made it's a poison pill where you don't buy from them either. There's a psychology to that business. There's a psychology to it. And I'm kind of rambling here, and I'm hoping I'm getting the point across to you. But, man, dealerships are vague for a reason. It's because you're not committing. That's why. Don't take it personal. Don't say, oh, you can't trust them or anything like that. It's like they don't want to give you information to help you buy a car at the next dealership and not them. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. That's all it will ever be. Don't get frustrated about that. Don't put yourself in that scenario. Do your homework. Watch videos. Shop for cars. I give test driving tips. Test drive the car. Test the turning radius. Test the auto start shut off. Test the seat. Can I get this seat perfect? What about if the steering wheel's here? Then move your seat again. Adjust it again to get a secondary or backup seat setting. See how it works that way. How easy is the sunroof to open? How easy is it to get the AC to work? Do this. That's the other thing. Test the AC. Even when it's wintertime, test the AC. Summertime, test the heater. Test those things. Things you wouldn't normally do. They know that you're not going to test the heater in the summertime. You're not going to test the AC in the wintertime if they're trying to sell you a used car. And then when it comes 2 seasons later and you're out of that return period or whatever, it's been 6 months and you bought the car and now you realize the heater doesn't work, you're mad because you never tested it. And they're like, they're slapping high fives or whatever because they sold you a car and they don't have an obligation to fix it now because now that time has passed. So there's things you can do to make that process easier, especially buying new cars. Had a Telluride, sold it for the Atlas Crossport. Man, that is awesome, Gwen. What do you think of the Crossport? I'm just asking. Let's see here. So does anybody else have any questions? I kind of rambled there about that stuff. I'll get a more of a structure here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to end up doing these probably every Thursday at 6:30. I kind of get a schedule to it because I kind of do these on a whim at this point. I'm going to try to get on a schedule and do that because I did this as a test. I didn't think really I'd have any interest at all. And you can see there's a lot of people that are interested. So that's kind of where I'm at. So 6:30 on Thursdays, I think is what I'm going to do. I may schedule a couple more out. Thank you, Vegan Jen. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I'm not giving you guys enough information or content, but I'll keep it up and I'll work on it. I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna work on having more content here to kind of give you guys. Yeah, Gwen, you're gonna love that card. Those things are awesome, and I'm sure you get a lot of compliments on it too. So, oh, and here's the hoodie. If you guys wanted to see the hoodie there, this is my old one. It's kind of peeling off a little bit there, but support the channel. You got any kind of questions for me? Leave them down in the comments. Also, there was something else I was going to tell you. I'm old, so I forget things. Oh, make sure you like below and then subscribe too, because evidently my algorithm is driven by likes too, and subscribing. So thanks a lot, guys. Tell your friends about me. Send them some videos. My views are up. I'm digging it. I just hit 10.7 million views on my channel. So, man, I'm loving life. So you guys, thanks a lot. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a great night. All right. Bye.